Cody, Bengals coming off a huge overtime win over Sacramento State. First OT game since actually UC Davis back in 2018. How are we feeling coming out of the locker room after that?
I feel great for our guys. Just the way the last couple weeks went, our guys work too hard. They're too good at people. This program has made too many strides to have it continue to go that way. And I think our guys had a ton of confidence in themselves. They were just sort of frustrated. So we talked last night about just finding a way and the importance of having some grit and owning your mistakes, owning your triumphs. And I told the defense that, we need to get some turnovers. And holy cow, did they get turnovers in a big way. I mean, the amount of, I think all three of them were basically 14-point swings. I mean, you look at Nathan Reynolds' fumble return, Nigel's pick, and then TB forcing that fumble ended up going into the end zone. I mean, those are massive plays, and tried to win it a few other times. Tried to end it on special teams, and we couldn't get a first down after Ross's fake. Tried to end it with sticks down there in the red zone, and we couldn't get enough push. But man, huge hats off to all of our leaders and in the defense and helping get it done tonight.
Let's talk a little bit about a couple of those defensive plays. That Nate Reynolds scoop and score, second defensive fumble recovery for a touchdown for the Bengals this year. What did we see out of Nate? What did we feel out of Nate? He scooped it up when he said he picked it up. He only thing he was thinking about was don't fumble, don't screw it up.
Yeah, I think those things you always have to look at both guys involved in the play. Just because Nathan was fantastic tight end when he was in high school. We know he's really athletic. We know he has the ability to make those plays. Everybody's kind of giving him some guff because last year he had the opportunity to do it and didn't quite get in. But again, he's made strides, and that dude's a leadership at the end of the game. The fumble return is nice, but the leadership and the development you've seen from him, playing hard, playing almost every snap at Mike, dealing with a lot of blocks, getting off blocks. It's a very physical game for him. And for him, there's the type of attitude and joy that he brings every day to the office. I laugh at everybody. Every time I see him, he smiles and goes, "What's up, Coach Hawk?" Just every time. And for him to play with that kind of joy and then that kind of intensity throughout the game and make those kind of plays, because even he was rallying the defense really right at the end to get that stop. He was just saying, hey, they still got to kick it. Let's hold them out of the end zone. And boy, he ended up doing a great job.
Cody, 9th week in a row, you've basically played a new offensive line set. Sac was able to get a little bit more pressure this game, but the O-line stepped up when they needed to give Cody time to make those throws. What did you see out of the O-line?
Yeah, I think if I'm correct, Sac State leads the league in sacks. I think they're averaging three and a half a game. And how many did we end up giving up?
Now we've only given up 3 in 6 games.
Okay, so it was one today? Only one? Yeah. First of all, I always got to give credit to the players first. The culture in that room that they've created, even sustained by the guys that aren't still playing. Missing guys like Alex Ramirez and Jordan Miller and Ty Hyde and Stryker didn't even practice all week, but we got word that he would be able to play, and he's playing a position he's never played in college against a really good front. And Stryker Rashid played his absolute tail off today. But Coach Hughes does a great job in that room, and all of those guys understand that there's going to be accountability. There has to be a little bit of flexibility amongst the positions, and I think the way that he teaches and the way that they continue to push each other, there's a pretty good conceptual understanding of what we have to do, whether it's identification or timing in pass pro or IDN and which double teams we want to get in the run game.
Let's talk about special teams for a second. Obviously everyone's going to focus on Ross's fake punt, but you had a touchback on every single kickoff. You had made field goal, made PATs. What has the overall improvement success of the special teams been able to do to bolster this team?
Yeah, I think, first of all, it comes down to, I say recruiting, but it's about good players. I think you've been able to see Gabe Panikowski come in, a really talented guy, and he's a wonderful person who has an unbelievable amount of leg talent. And Ross is a guy who we knew was extremely talented, but when he was having to handle all of the duties, I think it hinders your development in one specific area. And, obviously having my dad on staff helps us in a multitude of ways, but he's done a great job mentoring those guys and really trying to emphasize their strengths and finding a role for everybody on special teams. And, you got to throw Scotty Atkinson in there as well. He's a great leader. He's a long snapper. You don't hear about him, but he does so much as far as helping those guys chart out where they're kicking, how they're kicking, and exactly what we're trying to do on our punt units and our kick units. And then we do have some leg talent in that room. And Mason Lindbergh's a guy who could have kicked touchbacks as well. We're just trying to make sure we can save his redshirt year if possible. But really appreciate all the work that those guys have put in. They have fantastic attitudes. And the teamwork that they've kind of created and how they support each other is pretty special.
Okay, then let's talk about it. Ross Bolger, huge first down on the fake punt. It took 2 minutes off the clock when we were trying to kill that in that fourth quarter. Whose call was it? And Why did we go with that?
Yeah, it was my dad's call. He was the one he kept coming over and saying, "Hey, we got it," and we almost had it earlier in the game, but it didn't necessarily feel right. And no one there, I thought it was kind of the perfect scenario, and I appreciate them recommending it at the time because it's 4th and 1. You're about at midfield, and you think they're going to have plenty of time to go down and score, whether we get a first down or not. If we want to end the game, we got to get the first down and keep it here. Because if we would have turned it over, we had enough timeouts, we would have been able to stop the clock and get another opportunity to win at the end of the game. So I thought it was a great job by Thies and Big Hawk scheming it up. A great job by Ross executing it because the play clock was running down at that time. It took us a while to actually give it the go-ahead. And Ross did a great job making a play and held on to the football, which is what I was most worried about. But, man, hats off to him.
OT defense steps up huge, forces a sack, kick a field goal. We got a penalty. We're in scoring range, right? What were the factors that led to the decision to make the back shoulder throw in the corner hands? And what were you seeing out of Sack in the game?
Yeah, I mean, they do so many things. They're going to challenge you to throw it deep, and I know they called offensive PI on us, and I'm not whatever, but where they're just grabbing our guys and they're calling OPI because it looks like you're running right into them. But they're a physical group that's going to make you run past them. So we do a lot in our pass game with different switch releases to try and get our guys an opportunity to have a vertical presence. And we had just tried to run the switch vertical, so we went with the switch corner there. And anytime you have a guy have a penalty, I think as a coach, you like to go at them and challenge them. Because if they just had a PI, they're number one, shaken in their confidence, or they're going to be overly concerned with not being grabby the second time. So you feel like you're going to have an opportunity to get a clean route and some separation. And Jeff is a guy who has enough wiggle and shake that, if you're going to throw that route to anybody on our team, it would be him. Freddie's good for a lot of routes. Everybody in our room has specific specialties, but anything with some wiggle where you're going to try and create separation against man coverage, Jeff's your guy.
Okay. I asked the guys this. I'll ask you, going into the bye week, a lot of people think, oh, it's a week off. It's not. There's a lot of work that goes into bye week. One, what do we need to focus on going into this week? Let's start with that.
Yeah, what do we need to focus on? There are a lot of areas where we can continue to push. I talked this week a little bit about the importance to be better in the red zone. And, we were not great in the red zone tonight. We had opportunities to punch it in with Hunter Hayes, and we didn't do a good enough job. And it's because we got to be creative in ways that we run the football. And I thought we had done some creative stuff, but anytime you have that many moving parts, the pass game and pass protection is a little bit easier to shore up than your run game, just creating movement and getting work on those double teams. Because Striker Rashid is one of the best linemen on our football team, one of the best linemen in the conference, but until today he had never worked on that double team. He does a lot of pass sets against one-on-one stuff, but in the run game you're trying to create so many double teams and pass offs, especially against Sac State's movement. We got to get better there. So we're going to continue to find ways to be creative in the run game, whether it's a personnel decision, extra scheme decisions, maybe checks that we give them at the line because we got to score more touchdowns when we get into the red zone. I think defense, you want to be better at stopping the run, but the thing that you were able to see tonight, keep them out. Just find a way to keep them out. Total offense is too easy to accumulate in today's football, and total defense is a stat that doesn't matter. But if you can force turnovers or make them kick threes when they get down in the red zone, like our defense did tonight, you're going to have a shot in every football game.
Okay, and then we said it's not a weekend of rest, but it is. With a week 10 bye, how needed would you say this bye week?
Yeah, we could have used this bye probably about 3 other times earlier in the year because our guys are, they're pretty banged up, and I think we got a shot to get a couple guys after the bye. Cortland Horton being one of them. Just having him be out for such an extended period of time. You love his leadership off the field, but you also forget that he's one of the best D linemen in the conference. I think Taylor Tuioti is going to have a shot to come back, and we're kind of trying to make decisions about him now with this new redshirt rule. Do we want to play him in 3 games or 1 game? And it's for us, it's about looking at ourselves first and foremost. You do a lot of self-scout, so we got to figure out what are our tendencies, what are the things that we're doing that we're not good at that we need to emphasize and get better at. What are the things that we're doing that we need to cut bait on and stop trying? And we'll look at the film and the statistics and look at things both qualitatively and quantitatively to figure out where we can get better and try to catch up on recruiting. Recruiting is a big emphasis when you have an opportunity to slow down a little bit without an immediate opponent waiting at the end of the week. You can catch up on recruiting, which is really important now that signing day is on December 4th, right after the end of the season. And then, we'll try to do a great job of resting our guys when we can, but still getting great work in preparing for Weber State.